You, my dude. Boy, Ralphie, see you out there in the game, man. See you with the whip, bro. Congrats on that there, brother. Oh, man. So, we back. Back one more time. Conversation of the Heart. Part 2. We did one yesterday. ManTalk with my brother Ron. So we're going to go ahead and do it again tonight. Jesus. Okay, what's good? What's good? Let me see. Just gonna wait for my brother Ron to come on, and then we off to the races. On the check in right here. Man, so that's waiting for my man to come on. Yo.
Tell you what's good, man.
My brother.
What up?
Back one more game.
Yeah, man, we had to hit him with the remix.
Yeah, hell, facts, bro. Again, I appreciate you doing this, man. It's much needed for us. It's much needed for our community, bro. Appreciate this, man. We had a extremely good talk yesterday, and for the people who missed it,
Yeah, you put it on your page. You got to show me how to put it on my page. I know you emailed it to me. I just got to figure out how to throw it on my IG.
So here's the problem with that. So when you do a live, you can only post it immediately after.
Oh.
But it's the person who's doing the live. So I can only post it directly right after. And if I don't post it directly after, I lose it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's wild. So I found out the hard way. I did a really good live. And I didn't post it right away, and I lost it. So, after I post it, I send it to, I sent it to you. So what you'll have to do, cause you can post it on Facebook right away. Like you can post it on Facebook, straight away. But when it comes to IG, you'll have to kind of break it up in 15-minute increments. You know what I'm saying, and post like 4 different parts because that's an hour.
Because I definitely want to see if I could post it, man. The amount of feedback of people that reached out to me after yesterday, and just wanting to hear more. What thanking us for the for the knowledge and just the open dialogue that we were able to have, man. Like even male friends, female friends, phone calls, text messages, them reposting it. Like it was a lot of love yesterday. So I definitely wanted to see how I can make that happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm a very appreciative of everyone who reposted our talk yesterday because that means a lot. And the more that we can get this type of dialogue and this type of talk out, the better it is and the quicker that we can start healing people, man. And that's really all that I have this platform for, man, is to have conversations with good, like-minded people like yourself, man, to have these type of open and raw, especially raw dialogues with, man. So thank you. And for the people who missed it yesterday, this brother is an actor. He's a writer, man. He loves the youth. Very involved with the youth. You know what I'm saying? Very faith-driven gentleman. One of the most solid brothers that I know. He's honest, sincere, man. I love this brother to death, man. And if you want to just tell the people, you know what I'm saying, where they can find you, what you're doing, the projects and things like that, the floor is yours.
The easiest way to find me is right here on social media. You can find me right here on Instagram, Y_RESTS NYC. That's YREST NYC. That's people always ask me about the name. Back when I was still going hard as a rapper, my brother gave me that name, and they don't realize it's literally the first letter of every part of my name. RESTS, Ronald Edward Smith II. So you can find me right here on that. You can also find me on Facebook, Ronald E. Smith II. And I just had a film named Angry People that dropped last week, maybe about a week and a half ago now. I have another film called Beta that's coming out pretty soon.
Bro, that one. Woo-wee. That one.
Yeah, I still got to watch that one myself. But
yo, bro.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of what. I'm not the biggest fan of like watching myself, and I mean, I guess we could dive into that part because I guess that piggybacks a lot of what we were talking about yesterday as well, in regards to just us being able to expose ourselves and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part,
Mr. Misunderstood. Okay. All right. Yeah. So perfect, man. So we could just dive right into it, bro. So yesterday we had a good conversation on manhood and just some of the things that kind of plague us, as boys growing up to teenagers and growing up as men, and how that generational dysfunction can follow us, and it's been following us in our community for years, man. So I guess the purpose of the conversation was just to talk really just raw, and unfiltered as men to say, hey, what can we do better? You know what I'm saying? What can we do better as men, and what are we teaching our young boys too? You know what I'm saying? So, that was part one, you know what I'm saying? So this is the remix today, bro. So thank you again, bro. So
yeah, absolutely.
So gearing to we're gonna start here as a faith and politics, bro. So we talked about faith yesterday in one aspect, right? And in this aspect of faith and politics, we tend to see and it really grinds my gears a lot. It really pisses me off a lot when I see kind of faith being used as, I think, a talking point or as a scapegoat way to get out of the topic of conversation of social injustice, right? So, there's a lot of things. There's faith. People using Christianity. I hate that. They're using scripture, you know what I'm saying, to kind of not talk about the social injustice, you know what I'm saying? They use Martin Luther King, you know what I'm saying? I see a lot of people posting Martin Luther King now, you know what I'm saying? That and it bugs me, you know what I'm saying? So what do you think, and why do you think that people are using, faith now and Christianity now as a scapegoat to not address the real issues that's going on in this world today, man?
Well, I think the biggest aspect of it is just how I don't think that this is anything new. I think that this has been happening since the beginning. You know what I mean? This is happening with our ancestors when we were lied to and told that, Jesus was this white man and, the blonde hair and blue eyes. And I know for myself, I was actually just having this conversation with a friend of mine from England. And, straight up told her she's a Caucasian female. And I told her, well, listen, I think in order for us to find common ground in regards to spirituality, faith, and how we can use it to help heal this world. Number one, we need to accept that there are no white people in the Bible. All right. So anybody who's white and listening, let that sink in. There are no white people in the Bible. I don't know if we know about geography, but they're not there. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Number two, you need to go out and read the Bible for yourself. You need to find faith on your own because you're going to realize just how many things we are being lied about. You know what I mean? I remember for the longest time, something as simple as tithing was a huge issue for me. Why am I sitting here? Why am I sitting here giving this church all of my money when you still have homeless people sleep on your steps? But what I had to learn, and we talked about this yesterday as well, what I had to learn was the fact that, number one, Jesus, this black man, he wasn't sitting here just, when it said tithe to the church, they weren't talking about the building. They were talking about the people. In no shape, form, or fashion would Jesus ever leave hungry people on the steps of this building that's supposed to be meant for healing. So once we start to unpack all of those lies that we've been told, that's when we can start that's when Christianity, spirituality, and any other religion that you may be a part of or, take in, that's when we can really start a lot of that healing and start utilizing for the good that it's meant to be. But we have to educate ourselves. And a lot of times, there are pastors and things of that nature. And given, I love my pastor to death, but even the times that he says that I don't necessarily agree with, you know what I mean? And we can have those open conversations going back and forth with scripture and, what the scripture was supposed to mean and what you take from it, what I take from it. And, that open dialogue is important, especially with the leaders of the church. But you have to make sure that you're not just following everything that they're saying because it's not going to be true. I mean, something that's always come up within Christianity, within spirituality is, if you're gay, you're going to hell. my pastor does talk about that, and
Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Yeah.
We have very real conversations where I tell him I don't believe that in any shape, form, or fashion. I know the things that I've done in my life. I know the things that I've done on the streets and everything like that. If I'm not going to hell, nobody else is, because at the same time, if you want to use these sort of things from the Bible also says that no sin is bigger than the other. So even if I'm telling a little white lie, that person is not going to hell just because they love women the same way I love women, or they love men the same way, women out there love men. Like this, in no shape, form, or fashion do I believe it. In no shape, form, or fashion am I going to accept it. But how many people have the heart and the balls enough to say, sorry, Pastor, I'm not going to accept that?
Right. Super important, bro. And I think that what you said was spot on. Like, we have to kind of we can't take pastors and leaders at everything that they say. We could take take things kind of with a grain of salt, you know what I'm saying? And then take what we believe and then just leave the rest. Because they're human beings too.
Absolutely.
And so when I see people posting Martin Luther King all the time, you know what I'm saying? Peace, peace, peace. And I'm like, y'all hated him while he was alive, though. Y'all hated this man while he was like, he was on the FBI most wanted list. And now you love this man.
He's a convicted felon. He was an adulterer. Yep. He cheated on, Coretta time and time again. He was not a perfect man, but I would ask those people, do you think that he went to hell? Because if God could love him despite everything that he did, even despite him using his platform for everything not godly like, if he still made it to heaven, the rest of us can make it as well. I don't care what leader tells you. Don't be afraid to challenge it.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, when these political leaders, and just even people that you might see on your social media start saying, oh, Martin Luther King wanted peace. Why are you protesting? Martin Luther King said, and all of these things. And I'm like, I've never seen Martin Luther King quoted so much in my life until now. And I'm like, hold on. You guys are evading the issues. You guys don't want to talk about what we want to talk about. You guys are using everything else to combat what we're saying because you don't want to talk about the real issues. And
not only that, they are also afraid of us not trying to accept peace. You're saying that this man was this extreme person about peace because he had these different quotes, but you're forgetting about the amount of times that he got his ass whooped in order to get to peace. He knew that without struggle, there's no progress. Without a few of us getting our asses whooped, without a few of us sitting here having to take the brute of this world's evil, without a few of us having to step up and do it, there would be no peace. And he was one of those people. I want peace, but I'm not afraid to sit here and step into the ring with anybody if I need to. And that's the part that they want to ignore, because they know for a fact if we step into the ring unified, oh my goodness,
it's over. I always say like y'all better be glad that we want, you know what I'm saying, that we are some forgiving people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are some forgiving people. And I'm like, y'all lucky that we don't want revenge. You know what I'm saying? Like keep it 100.
Y'all are lucky. All we want to do is matter. Imagine if we were really serious about a lot of this stuff and where we take it. Oh man.
Yeah. So man. I just wanted to just touch on that a little bit, man, because that's something that always it irritates me when I see people on some of my timeline. Oh, Martin Luther King. Why are you protesting Martin Luther King? I'm just like, bro, like, come on, man. But I digress. So I want to talk about a concept called Dear Diary, man. And it's a concept to me that it's about journaling. Okay. And you're an avid journaler. Like, you write, I write, and there's a stigma on journaling, especially when it comes to men. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, that's feminine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is feminine, right? So when it comes to self-help, self-care, everything is labeled feminine. So how has journaling and writing impacted your life?
Well, I can honestly say that journaling and writing has, even before I would quote unquote call it journaling, was a healing mechanism for me. You know, I think back to my days in high school where I'm just sitting here writing raps, and, you know, that was a form of journaling that helped me. But the thing is, like you said, the stigma as we get older, it's like, oh, well, you know, that's rap music. But not realizing, like, no, this is journaling as well. It's just a different form of it. You know what I mean? The very word rap itself, the acronym is rhythm and poetry. How many people, you know, Dear Diary, how many people tell these stories through poetry? We never shame them. We never do any of it, you know? But I think the thing that journaling has been able to do for me there are times I don't feel like talking to people. There are times I'm not ready for human interaction, but it's given me that scapegoat to where I can still express it, you know, in a healthy manner. You know what I mean? And I'm one of the type of people, you know, and you and I have had our conversations in regards to like, yo, you my brother, you can always reach out to me and things of that nature. And there are just certain times, like earlier today, I want to say up until about 4 p.m., I was not ready for any sort of human interaction. I didn't want to have to talk to anybody. I didn't answer my phone. I didn't do any of that. But I was able to sit here, pick up the journal. It's like, all right, why do you feel this way right now? You know what I mean? Without the pressure of having to, without the pressure of having to answer anyone's questions about it or anything like that. I was able to just freely speak without any of it, you know? So for me, journaling has given me that safe space, that safe haven to accommodate to me in the way that I need to.
And, you know, I believe that journaling, if you start like when you're younger too, and give young boys permission to just write out their feelings, hell, by the time they're 25, they could have a bestseller. You know what I'm saying? Like you just, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that serious.
Another aspect of that is that they have to see us doing it. They don't see us writing anymore. They don't see us doing a lot of these things. For the longest time, all they saw was us wanting to play sports, us wanting to do music, us wanting. Who the hell? Nobody ever told us that we could be bestsellers. We've never even seen people try to do it. So a huge part of that is we have to start setting that example, being more vocal about it and putting it out there so that this way they can see it. You know,
it can't just be like your mama writing.
Exactly. Like I know you're working on a book. The more and more that you're vocal about the book that you're working on, what the book may be about, and then when it actually drops and they're like, yo, T. Till is a published author, and that's when a lot of those floodgates will start to open up, and you're going to show other people that they can do it as well.
Right. And a lot of times what we touched on yesterday was the I'm good factor. So it's just like when we're in the homes and the fathers and things like that and the grandfathers or whatever the case is, we never saw them really sitting down and writing anything. It's just like, nah, I'm good. I got it. You know,
too many
don't
of us
bother
didn't
me.
even have the father in the home, but you know, that's another
topic. Topic for another, yes, and that is a different topic. But for those that did have the example, you know what I'm saying? It was be quiet. We don't have emotion. I'm good. I can shoulder everything and I can carry it all. Not knowing that they're crumbling on the inside. I think that's the craziest thing. Is that you could watch somebody and internally they're crumbling on the inside while they're saying, I'm good. And they could be literally dying because what's going on up here is killing them in here and it's making them physically sick. But sometimes that won't come out until later, you know what I'm saying? Because stress is a silent killer. And people don't understand that stress affects everything. Number one, that's in your gut. It affects your heart. It affects your mind. You know what I'm saying? So all the anguish and turmoil that you're holding on to inside here, at some point, you know what I'm saying, it's going to come out. You know what I'm saying? And it may not be in the best way. And a lot of times it could be detrimental to your health, man. So
Absolutely.
So journaling is a perfect way, or one of the perfect ways that us as men and can teach our young boys to say, hey, yo, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like you can do this. Like, don't think that it's just the girls that can just sit there and write things out. Nah, you can write it out too. However, I mean, if it be rap, be rap. If it be poetry, be poetry. If it's just straight writing, that's okay too. But I think you're right, man. We have to start giving our boys the permission to be different. You know what I'm saying?
At the same time, it also. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, but in order for us to even get to the level of journaling, we first have to be real with them about mental health.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
We have to let them know, because a lot of times they don't understand what's going on with them. I remember the first time I had an anxiety attack. I had no idea what was happening to me. I thought I was having a heart attack. All I know is that I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't, I felt like, and I was on the train. You already know how the train is, 9 o'clock in the morning, and how crowded it is. And here I am, but at the same time, I got these tears built up. There's so many other men, hood niggas and everything around. I'm like, nah, I can't let them see me cry. I'm gonna have to knock one of them out. I had no idea what was happening to me. Yeah, because that's where my mind was. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the minute I make myself vulnerable, then I have to prove I'm the alpha dog again. But I think the biggest thing was that if someone anybody in my family were to tell me, like from my older brother to my dad, if anybody would ever have a conversation with me about anxiety attacks, about anxiety period, about stress, about depression, I would have had more of a head start in regards to, okay, so yeah, maybe I do need to sit down and write something. Show me how, when I'm writing, how should I do it? You know what I mean? But it's going to take us being more vocal about those things and literally showing them. You know what I mean?
Facts. And, just letting them know that that communication, expression, and vulnerability is power. Like, we have to be able to educate, especially our young men, to say, hey, listen, dog, like, hey, what you're feeling is normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you being angry, you being sad, that's a normal emotion. And that is perfectly okay for you to express those emotions and to communicate those feelings, to the right people. Right.
Yeah,
and teaching them as they go from adolescents to teenagers about, hey, it's okay to also now let's talk about therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good thing. It's not a thing of shame. There's no shame in getting therapy. There's no shame in feeling emotion. That's not considered failure. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
So there's a lot of things that with young boys and men that we kind of have to debunk. And first, not everything. Not everything, you know what I'm saying, it's just about pride and ego, and not everything is a failure. So just because you feel these things and you're going through these things doesn't make you a failure. And it's okay to actually open up and say, I need to go get help for these things because I can't do it within myself. And a lot of times in our community, like, both of us are Christians, right? And we believe in faith and prayer. But there's a heavy thing that is very dangerous in our community.
I was just about to touch on it too. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
That pretty much says we just gonna pray everything away. We're gonna pray everything away. And that's just the way it's gonna be. We're gonna fast, or we're gonna pray, we're gonna tithe, and everything is gonna be okay. And it's like you're waiting on something. Like, you're not doing the work. Like, you're waiting on something to happen instead of you going and doing the work. Praying is good, fasting is good, tithing is all a part of it. But you've got to do more. Like, the days of, like, we just gonna pray it away, go to church, see a pastor, and go. Like, those days are over. We need to start healing our homes, healing our communities, and that starts with us doing the actual work.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there, time and time again, you'll have your grandmother. Oh, well, did you pray about it, son? You gotta. It's like your grandma. It's like, grandma, I understand times are different, but it's deeper than prayer. God has provided therapists and black therapists. Black therapists, like my therapist, black woman, spiritually based. Yeah, God provided these people for us to get the help. You know what I mean? I can't sit here and pray to him for help and ignore all of the different things that he gives me in order to get help. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, it's also a matter of talking about the same thing yesterday in regards to us educating ourselves on, on the history of Christianity and how it was used and how it was used to cripple us in a lot of different ways. Like, for instance, if my grandmother's talking to me about, well, just pray about it. You already know the old saying, like, what goes on in this house stays in this house. And a huge part of that because once you go sit here and speak about what's going on, it could harm you. It could do more harm for your family than good. But now it's a matter of us understanding, like, now we're doing more harm to our family than good. By keeping quiet, by just praying about it, by just giving it to God. We teach us what it means to really give it to God, because if we're truly giving it to God, that's me saying, hey, you know something, maybe I should seek therapy. I'm going to seek therapy because at the end of the day, God is going to protect me anyway. So let me go seek therapy. He's provided them for us. Let's do it. You know what I mean? You know what? He's provided me with so many good brothers around me. Why not fellowship with them? If I can't get to therapy right now, why not just, fellowship with my brothers? Let them know how I'm feeling. God, who knows how God will use them to help me? You know what I mean? But those are the parts of the conversations we never get to. It's just always, oh, well, pray about it.
Yep. It's always pray about it. And then there's even a layer to that too, that if you were even brought up in the church and you're active, a lot of times if you have to go see a therapist, it's like it's the opposition of God. It's like, oh, you're gonna go see a therapist. Oh, so that means like you're really not a believer. So you don't believe that God can do it. So and then there's this guilt about doing that. So it's just there's so many different layers of trying to get to the point that we're better at teaching mental health. And so it starts like you said, it starts with us. You know what I'm saying? It starts with us teaching our young boys, man. And even our young girls, man. I mean, they do a great job of it already, man. They're already on that self-help game, man. But for those who aren't, just reaching out and saying, hey, look, man, this stuff is okay. You know what I'm saying? Stop the shame. You know, stop the guilt. Stop, and stop the pride. Because, you know what I'm saying? God, because you're right. Like you said, God gives us these therapists. God puts the right people in your path to get you to that next level, man. So, it starts with me and you. You know what I'm saying? But what else can we do, man? Because I feel like, you know, we can have talks like this, and it starts with talks like this. You know what I'm saying? But what else, man? Because it has to go more than just this. You know what I'm saying? As much as people can repost this, please repost this, by the way. But it's just it has to go further. You know what I mean?
I think a huge part of how we can make it go further or get it to go further is some of the other things that you and I already do. Think about the amount of times that we're going out, we're speaking to youth, you know, not getting paid for it, but going out and speaking to them, dropping the gems in them because we know what it'll do to help them in the future. You know what I mean? It's giving them the history lessons that they won't know about, that they never hear about. You know what I mean? It starts those are huge. Those are huge. Those are super huge. You know what I mean? Like, even when I would talk to students and students that may have not have necessarily been mine, talk to them about the divide between black men and between black women and black men, and the things that, you know, the history behind it, how it started, where it's going, and how we can fix it, and the ways that we still feed into it. By the time I would finish one of those talks, everybody's like, oh, Mr. Smith, you know what I mean? But it takes us going out and doing those things. It takes us not being selfish with our time, and going out and giving that time to people, whether we're getting paid for it or not, whether we're getting praised for it or not. But that's another huge thing, for us to do.
You know, maybe after the Rona, you know, is over, me and you got to talk about some of the things.
After Rona take her ass back in the house and stop messing with everybody.
Yo, we could talk about some things that maybe that we could collab on, and, you know, of course, maybe a podcast that we could do. You know, we'll talk about that offline, brother. But you know, So with that, with all of those layers, now, what happens to me is self-sabotage. You know, I find that, so after we've gone through these layers, and then we've gone through the shame, and then we've gone through the pride and the ego and this and that, I always find that then comes self-sabotage, right? It's like the things that we know that we should be doing. So it's like, man, I probably should go to therapy. You know what? But I got to go to work, or I got to go to my boo's house, or I got to go this with my boys, or then it becomes that part of it. And it's like, oh, you know, I just don't have the time. You know, and self-sabotage, I feel, in our community is detrimental. Whether that be in relationships, jobs, you know, anything. It's just like, we feel like we're not worthy.
And the thing is,
of being whole.
The thing is that
we're afraid of it.
No one's ever told us that we were worthy of it. If you think about it, growing up, how many times has anybody ever told you, hey, listen, T, you're actually entitled to peace. Like, you know that if you want to find peace within, you're entitled to it. It belongs to you. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, T, don't worry about your job. Don't worry about showing up to work if you're not able to be there mentally and be able to be there whole. Put yourself first. The job will be okay. That boss that you have will be okay. But put yourself first. How many times have we ever been told this? You know what I mean? I remember when you and I used to work together, and, you know, at Bronx Community College, and I'm sitting here like, man, I don't want to have to find someone else to teach my class, or no, I don't want to sit here and upset my boss. And it's like, but yeah, you're not okay right now. You know what I mean? You are not okay. Why do you feel like you need to sacrifice yourself for this job paying you $40-something thousand a year? Or why do you feel like you need to sabotage yourself, or, for anything outside of you and your mental health, outside of you and, like you said, the us being whole? No one has ever told us that we were worthy. No one's ever told us what we're deserving of and what we're entitled to. And that's a huge part of the self-sabotaging. I feel like so many people do self-sabotage themselves because no one's ever told them what they're worthy of, especially as young Black men and women.
And that's so true. And it's always that we're always trying to prove that we are worthy. We're always trying to prove like that, you know what, I am the best. Because let's be honest, in corporate America, you know that you can lose your job in a New York minute. You know what I'm saying? If you do the wrong thing, right? And you don't have this much rope. You got about this much rope. You know what I'm saying? Versus your competition, right? So we're always like, yes, like we always have this mentality of, oh my God, I gotta work harder. I have to work harder. Have to work harder. Have to work harder. And with that, you sacrifice your mental health.
But one thing I see. One thing I see that's starting to happen now, and I think that it's a really, really good step in the right direction, is just how more prominent mental health is becoming in conversations in regards to, in regards to certain jobs, including corporate America. The last thing you want is for your company to get negative reviews in regards to how they don't care about the employees' mental health, or how they don't care about the employees' rights to this. And the fact that fear is starting to be put into a lot of these companies, I think that's a move in the right direction for us to have, for us to start finding more of the time for us to heal ourselves. You know, the fact that you have Fortune 500 companies making sure that they bring corporate psychologists and corporate psychiatrists in on the staff in order to make sure that their employees are taken care of. I think that move in the right direction, but we have to tip that needle just a little bit more.
200% correct. And I think that we have to start instilling like in the home first. So by the time that our kids grow up to work and be on these jobs and do all these things, that now they know that their mental health matters. You know what I'm saying? And to value themselves over what somebody is trying to pay you. So it's like, hey, listen, this $500 a day or whatever the case is not worth my mental health, because people don't really understand how bad that once you have, anxiety attacks and things like that, and you have this mental health crisis, how that physically can impact your life and be detrimental to your health. And, people can have brain aneurysms, you know what I'm saying? Real things can happen. Heart attacks, you know what I'm saying? Things within your gut, you know what I'm saying? Like acid reflux and all types of stuff that can go on because of stress and anxiety.
Myself.
Right. Yep. 2 years ago, I had a bout with that too, with acid reflux and stuff like that. And people don't really understand how these things affect themselves physically. They always think that it's hereditary. Oh, acid reflux or heart disease. But it's like, yo, listen, a lot of that is you not taking care of your mental health first. Like, you have to take care of your mental health first, because if you don't take care of your mental health first, your inward here is going to crumble. You can have a pretty shell on the outside, but a tormentful inside, and that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and we have to want to be around for our kids. We have to want to stay healthy for our next generation. You know what I'm saying? Or just be healthy for your community, because there's some people who don't want to have kids, and whatever the case is. But you have to stay healthy so you can be active within your community. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely. In order to do so, we have to take care of our mental health and not kind of be slave to your 9 to 5. And don't mean like slave, but just that mentality of I'm always trying to prove myself worthy of having this job, of having this opportunity. Yes, I'm worthy. Yes, please. I could work overtime. I could work 12, 14, 16-hour shifts. Just know that see me, because you want to be seen. You want to be seen, even if it's at the detriment of your mental health.
And the thing is that to take that step further, doing that, especially when it comes to the people that you love, You know what I mean? Just because, like, your friends want to go out, your girlfriend wants to spend time together, your mom hasn't seen you in a while and wants you to come and visit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to tell the ones that you love most, no, because I'm not okay right now. You know what I mean? And I think when we start taking it to a level where we're truly just putting ourselves first, and even being able to tell the people that we love, no, I need to put myself first, you'll definitely start to feel a difference in the process, in your healing process.
I tell you, I struggle with that personally. I could be good with telling a corporation no. I ain't gonna lie to you. I can tell a corporation no in a hot New York minute. I've gotten to that point. I'm good with that. But when it comes to but when it comes to family, when it comes to friends, I struggle with that. I'll be 100% honest with you. I have a hard time saying no to them. I have a hard time saying Terrence can't be there for you.
Yeah.
It's just not, you know, I personally haven't gotten to that point yet of saying, yo, no, I can't be there for you if you need. Because anybody who knows me knows I'm always going to be there for you when you need, even if it inconveniences me. So I know I have work to do. I'm 100% honest. You know, but that's just me. I got to work on that for myself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
no, and I mean, honestly speaking, I mean, you know, I pray to God it doesn't have to happen with you. But where I learned the lesson that was 2019, I went through a really, really bad bout with depression. Like where I had to start taking days off of work. I was, you know, I remember being in bed for 5 days straight. And within those 5 days, I only ate maybe twice. You know, didn't have an appetite, couldn't get out of bed. I wasn't bathing or anything because I was just that deep into a depression. And my mother, who only lives about 35 minutes from me, wouldn't come check on me. She wanted me to come to her. And it was like, I'm trying to explain, but Ma, I can't get out of bed. And she just wouldn't come. And it got to a point where she's like, listen, I'm not hearing from him. I don't know how he's doing. Now I have to get off my behind. Now I have to show up. And it took me visually watching it, like I'm out here crying out for help and no one is coming. And for me, it was like, all right, now I have to help myself. I have to help myself. I have to do something different. And, you know, hey, my mother's like, you know, come out to the house, you know, stay here. I don't want to come to your house. I have my own house. You know what I mean? All I needed was someone to come visit or something. You know what I mean? But it took me seeing at the end of the day, regardless of who it is, you have to help yourself first. You have to put yourself first, and you have to prioritize yourself first in a lot of different ways, no matter who accepts it, has a problem with it. And I feel like the people who truly do love you and care about you will never have a problem with it. They will always understand.
So let me tell you how. So I've always had this problem, like I won't say the problem, but it's just me. Like it's just me just saying, hey, I'm always here for you, right? So let me tell you how that amplified. So in 2013, I was with my mom, and you know, I met her somewhere, and then you know, we chilled, hung out for a little bit, and then I left. You know, and I had somewhere else to go, and I got a phone call. I swear it had to be about 35 minutes after we left. And I was like, oh, you know, I'm tired. I was like, I didn't know who it was actually. But I was like, am I going to pick this up? I was like, all right, fine. So I pick it up and they're like, hey, listen, we know that you just left your mom, but she's really sick. Like you gotta, like, she can't hardly walk. Like something's wrong. Like you gotta come back.
Yeah.
So boom. So I jet back to where I was. So I went from my house. You remember my house in Rosedale? I jetted all the way back to Massapequa. So I jet back to Massapequa. Come to find out, long story short, you know, we get her to a hospital, blah 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 blah, and she was having a brain aneurysm, and I said to myself, what would have happened if I didn't answer that phone? A brain aneurysm, once that thing goes off, you have but this much to really try to, and even then, it's almost near death, right? So, and I always said to myself, like, yo, there's no way, like, because I never know, in a split blink of an eye, if I don't answer this phone, could it be life? Could it be life, or could it be death? And so that amplified, since 2013, that amplified everything for me. That amplified everything for me, man.
So let me ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Not to cut you up, but let me ask you this, right? So thank God you were able to be there. You were able to be there. You were able to rush there, make sure your mom's is good. What happens when you stop putting yourself first and you can't make it next time? You know what I mean? That day it was more so you were tired. You know, you were beat up from the world. But what happens if you put yourself into more of a downward spiral to the point where you may not even hear the phone because you're too sleepy? You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? So many different things could happen by you not putting yourself first. And until if you don't start to amplify and prioritize yourself, who knows, you may not make it next time.
Right.
Like I tell my mother in a heartbeat, she'll ask me to come or something, and don't worry about it, Ma. God got you. Make sure you pray on it. Tell her the same way she tell me. Make sure you pray on it.
Yo, man. So ever since then, man, it's just been like amplified because you just never know what people need from you, man, and who it, and you know, that next call could mean life or death or this or that. I mean, I've been keeping my phone on just in case because I feel like you just never know, and that affected my mental health. Like that really, because it's different when you sitting there and you're in the hospital and you see your mother laying there with a metal rod in her brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you sitting there like, yo, what if I didn't answer this call? And it was 50-50 even with me going back to get her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So. You know, so it's just that affected me in different ways too. But it's something that I have to work on too. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to ask you, have you ever sought therapy to talk about that? Because I mean, I've been there as well with watching my mother, the woman who raised me in the hospital, had machines breathing for her. And the doctors were telling me, listen, man, I don't see her making it throughout the week. You might need to start making some plans. You know what I mean? And same thing, got the phone call, rush out there, and this is what I walk into. But the visualization, you know, the sense, the level of PTSD that can instill on you. Have you taken the time to seek help to even talk about that?
A couple of years after it happened, around 2015, But at the time that I was going through it, nah, because at the time that I was going through that, my dad had leukemia, so he was in the hospital with leukemia taking chemo. You know what I'm saying? And then while they were all going through that, I got laid off. So there goes my benefits. And so my focus wasn't, you know, like that was a time where like when it hit home and it hit everything. You know what I'm saying? So, so for me, you know, it took about a couple years for me to really kind of, even after everything kind of blew over, it took about 2 years for everything to kind of blow over. And then for me to able to say, hey, all right, maybe like now that I'm back, I'm employed, and I start, you know, then I was able to work those things out in 2015.
What benefits did you see within yourself and your mental health by going to seek help, or going to speak with someone, even if it was 2 years later? What benefits did you see from that experience of going to get help? Man,
the first thing I realized how messed up I really was in 2013. You know, like once you remove yourself and you start unpacking all of the trauma that you went through, I started to realize like, yo, in 2013, I was a wreck. I was drinking every day. I had the big Costco bottle of Bacardi, the silver drink for $19.99 because I couldn't afford the premium drinks. You know what I'm saying? Because I was unemployed, but like I was drinking all the time because that's what made me say, you know, I can get a good night's sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what gave me a good night's sleep. I was like, it's poor. As soon as I got home from the hospital, like long days, my dad, my mom, boom, pour it up, boom, boom, boom. With that, I was a lot more angry, you know, but as I started to unpack, I started to be more at peace, and started to say, you know what? In 2013, I've realized that, you know what? The alcohol is not a good way to cope with your problems. You know what I'm saying? You know, but that was all to me that I had at that time. You know what I'm saying? You're unemployed, two of your parents are in the hospital, one with cancer, one with a brain aneurysm. Yeah. Bro, hey, I was just like, yo, I was coming home exhausted, drained, mentally, physically. I was just like a Bacardi and Coke is good for me, you know? But realizing that I went through trauma, first of all, like realizing that was PTSD. Because truthfully, I didn't equate that. I didn't think that's what that was. But after, you know, talking through it with the therapist, you know, a couple of days a week, Like I was like how better I felt about it. And then I started writing. You know what I'm saying? I started, journaling. I think that's kind of when I really started my journaling and my writing. And I was just like, yo, like I gotta write this out because I was feeling angry too.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. I was angry at God. I was angry at people. I was just angry at a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Corporate America. But through that situation in 2013, birthed what I'm doing today in 2020 because after I got laid off from corporate America and stuff like that and at my job, and I had a lot of time on my hands, one, to, I'd be at the hospital just sitting there because you really can't do anything but just sit there and be on the computer or just sit there and do whatever you're doing. And I started to think about what I wanted to do with my life and how I wanted to impact the world. And then, from that birth, the stuff I started to do in 2015 after I went to counseling. And then I started this journey in 2015 of speaking and coaching and all that other stuff and yada, yada, yada. So, so yeah, man. So, that's kind of what happened with me, bro. So, now I'm
definitely happy. I'm definitely happy that you shared that testimony. Because at the same time, someone on this live listening to your testimony, you just made it okay for them to go seek help themselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even with you talking about the PTSD that you were experiencing, a lot of people don't understand, a lot of people don't understand, number one, what PTSD really is, post-traumatic stress disorder. They don't fully understand what it is, and they don't fully understand the things that can cause it in someone. A lot of times people think that that's something that only soldiers can get. And, they're like, I'm like, you're absolutely wrong. Back in 2017, my older brother, he got locked up and he was facing a lot of time. And, I was sitting here using about 70% of my salary to, pay for his legal fees, like to the point where you remember, I was hopping the train and the bus to get to work and everything like that because I was giving all my money to the legal fees. And the day he called me and told me that he got sentenced to 26 years, if you would have heard the cry that came out, because I'm looking at it like this, my brother, he at the time he was 37, 38, he's 40 now, diabetic, horrible health. For me, it was like, if you're gone for 26 years, I'm never going to see you again. Like, this may be it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it wasn't until I started going to therapy, because I was doing the same thing you were doing. Only you was getting Bacardi, I was getting Svedka, because at the time vodka was my go-to. But when I started going to therapy, the very first day in therapy, like, with as hard as I cried with everything, it took a therapist to be able to really help me unpack some things and tell me, like, listen, she's like, you're grieving right now. You're in the sense of mourning. You're taking it as you just lost your older brother for life. You know what I mean? This man who partially helped raise you. You're grieving right now. You need to start moving as if you are grieving and be a lot more gentle with yourself. You know what I mean? And until she said it, now, if it wasn't for the fact that I decided to go get help and talk to someone, the same with you, we would have never understood the fact that we were, battling this sense of PTSD. I would have still been drinking, probably out partying, sleeping with a bunch of different women. I'd have been doing everything other than what I needed to do. And that was be a lot more gentle with myself. You know what I mean?
Facts. And I think now once you get this knowledge, once you get this knowledge of self, man, I think now, and that's why it's so important to keep this. I was just trying to see if I have some comments in here. I'm not sure. Ari Blank said, yes, black man talking about mental health. Yes. Appreciate you.
Crazy thing about it, I just started following her recently. Her and I went to junior high school together. So shout out to her.
Oh, dope. Shout out to you. Facts, man. So as far as we got about, time flies. We got like 11 minutes left. So as black men, we're always, we play sports and stuff like that. And we have this whole thing, this stigma that whether we play sports or whether we get on or whether we're rappers or musicians, whatever it is that we're supposed to just now, once we get on and get money, that we're not supposed to now talk about anything else but that. So it's like the shut up and dribble effect, right? And you're supposed to just go and leave the hood and not come back and don't worry about your community, man. You know, and it's like if me and you become successful, and we're on like that millionaire status or whatever the case is, that we can't do things like this anymore. We can't talk about politics. We can't talk about anything else but, whatever it is that made us money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the one thing is that I do know is about you. And one thing I damn sure know about myself is that that's never going to be the case.
Absolutely,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
So where does this come from? Where does this come from? Like, I don't understand it.
I think a huge part of it comes from, I think a huge part of it comes from a sense of fear. If we say too much, if we do too much, are we going to piss off Massa again? Is Massa going to be happy with what we're saying? And with as hard as we've worked to get to where we are and the things that we have, you know what I mean? We never want to lose it. You know what I mean? My acting career take off and I become this millionaire. I'm 32 right now. Let's say I become a millionaire at 35. You mean to tell me it took me 35 years to get here? Yeah, I don't want to lose it. But at the same time, we need to fear this fear of Massa.
Yep.
We need to unpack that and get rid of that too.
Which directly affects us on a lower level, like what we just talked about for us who work, regular jobs and things like that. Yep. How we don't take our mental health seriously because we're always trying to prove ourselves.
Exactly.
To our bosses.
Exactly. And that needs to stop. That sense of, hey, Massa, be proud of me, or I don't want to piss Massa off. We need to really get rid of that. And like, for instance, that's why I thank you for sharing your testimony, because one of the things that we, and I'll take it to a spiritual aspect as well. Our testimonies don't belong to us. The reason why we're even given things to testify about so that we can share them and help others come from where we came from. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, a basketball player I really admire for his testimony is DeMar DeRozan. People don't understand it. You talk about this kid from Compton, heavy into his Crip lifestyle. And it really took someone taking a chance on him, dragging him off the street and bringing him into the court, bringing him onto the basketball court. And now you're talking about an NBA All-Star. But at the same time, he just put out a documentary talking about his life. And I'm happy he did it because you know how many other gang members out, I was one of them. These kids that, you're affiliated with the gang for the protection, but no, I want to play basketball. I want to go to the NBA. I got dreams of being a rapper. But if nobody ever tells me I actually have a choice, then what do we do? If no one ever gives me their testimony of how they did it, then I don't have a blueprint. I'm just going off of, I'm walking into the world blindly. You know what I mean? So we have to, number one, start sharing our testimonies. Number two, get rid of this whole fear of Massa and this whole fear of pissing Massa off. The minute we start doing that, we're gonna see a lot more brothers come out and do certain things. You know what I mean? Say certain things. One of the things that made Muhammad Ali so great, he didn't have an undefeated record when he retired, but no, that man, he wasn't scared of no Massa. He knew that he held the power. He knew that he had the power in his voice, and he had the influence in order to affect an entire generation in the world. You know what I mean? Think about if Kobe would have spoke up more. God bless his soul. The man died, and I literally watched the entire world pause for a whole day. Like, literally, the world stopped from one man passing. Now, imagine if he was sitting here talking more about social issues and things of that nature. Oh, my goodness.
The crazy thing about Kobe is, man, I loved him like his last, I would say, 5 years. Like he became human. Like, I mean, superhuman. Yeah. And I started watching all of his interviews and him talk, and I was like, geez, this guy, like, he's different. Like, you knew that he was different on the basketball court. Like, we know. But when you listen to him speak about even just women's basketball and the support that he was showing women's basketball and his craft, or how he was able to switch from basketball to, writing and telling stories, like, it was just, man. I mean, I could definitely see how you're saying that, man. Wow, man. Yeah. So rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, bro. But
absolutely, man. But I think one of the things, because same as you, I couldn't stand Kobe. He stopped the Knicks from doing so much. So I couldn't stand him for a long time. Same way I couldn't stand Jordan. But I think you know, within his last like 5 years of his life, and, you know, even after his passing and learning so much more about him, I think the biggest takeaway that I took from him, and I hope that there's some young people on this live, because the biggest thing I took away from Kobe Bryant was a black man that showed support for black women, and all women at that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He knew the influence that he had. He knew that whether I have my sneakers on or a pair of shoes, I step on the court and I say something to understand that my word is bond. If I say, listen, I'm going to help reshape the WNBA, I'm going to reshape it. That's exactly what he was. That's exactly
I would have
what he was
loved to
doing.
see it too. I really would have loved to see it too.
You know, and a lot of people don't know even some of the things that he was able to make happen already, like the fact that our WNBA players were still flying coach. They didn't have their own private jets and everything like that. They make a drop in a bucket of what the men were making. If they had to go on maternity leave, they weren't getting paid for maternity leave. How the hell you mean to tell me you're not going to pay these women for having a child? Like, how disrespectful can you be as an organization? So the fact that he was able to expose those things and start changing them was amazing.
Man, salute to Kobe Bryant for that, man, because he was going to change women's basketball forever. And I'm hoping that somebody that's, I don't know who's going to be, but I'm hoping somebody picks up his baton, and carries it, man, because they need it. Because I just saw a story, I think it was yesterday, of, you know, the girls about to play in the bubble, and the living conditions are crazy. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Triple said, oh man, she said, Triple said, Shannon, what's up? She said, you both are living and walking gods, living walking gods, walk in your power. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you. Oh, and she has a black-owned business, and I'm gonna tell you like this: she sells candles, smell goods for men and women, like body oils and body. Yo, fire! Right, well, I ain't even telling you that. I swear to God, fire. She got a joint for men called suit and tie. Woo! That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Text me the link. I'll buy some today.
Yo, man, it's fire. And I just had to re-up. She's in Georgia. I had to go re-up too. Oh, okay. So yeah, she got candles and all that, but she ships, man, and she provides great customer service, man. So triple cent, man. Thank you. So yeah, bro, I think we got about 3 minutes left. I swear, like these towns, man, they fly by. This hour flies by a lot, man. We unpack a whole lot, man. So is there any
Hold on, somebody just shout out to Tiffany, good old Mad Max 919, love you to death. She said post the link for her business. This way we can all support her.
Yo, Triple said, pop your link in right quick, so that everybody can try to support you, cause man, they be smelling good. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Hey, you know, ain't nothing better than a good smelling black man. You feel me? So
but it's for men and women though. It's for men and women.
Tell her to help us all out, all right? Because Axe ain't doing it for me no more.
Yo, bro, Axe is so 2005, bro. What's going on with this?
I live in the South Bronx, man. I can't find that many fragrances.
Yo, listen, if she doesn't put it in the link, I'll send it to you, and then you can send it to Tiffany.
Chris, oh yeah, shout out to my brother Chris, man. Milan, I love you and miss you, brother. Dude, he's another phenomenal actor. You know, Colombian descent, and he's down in Florida and overseas killing it in the acting game, man. So shout out to you, man. You're one of my heroes, brother.
Shout out to Christopher, man. Word up, bro. I mean, I'm gonna just check and see how much we got left. We got about a minute, something left. Is there any type of resources that you want to share with the people, or just any kind of advice that you want to give these young brothers real quick, man, before we get out of here?
Be humble enough to listen to the people that have been here before you and that have done it before you. Humility is the biggest thing. Stay hungry, but stay humble as well. There are a lot of people that can offer you a lot, and we have to be humble enough to accept what they're telling to us.
Dope. Listen, we got about 30 seconds left. I just want to say thank you again. I'm sure that we'll do this again, especially
Most
if
definitely.
they want us to do this again for just different things. I appreciate you. I salute you. I honor you, black man. Thank you for everybody tuning in, brother. Salute to you. You're an incredible actor. You're an incredible human being, man, with an awesome spirit, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate you for doing this, man.
Always, man. Always. I love you,